I'm back. Sorry for the delay. Yeah. I was trying to get my page monetized. There's something weird about the AdSense account. Blah blah blah. All that stuff gives me a case of tired brain. So yeah, here I am, not monetized. Whatever. Go listen to Fantastic Boom. That's what I'm in it for. What should we talk about? Oh, I just as a this I try to stick to stuff that I feel like I have something of a quirky approach to, right? Quirky, maybe overly analytical approach to, um, and kind of away from things that everybody else teaches, because what's the point, I mean, you already know, you are likely to run into information like there are 3 pentatonic scales in every 7-note scale, and you can you can alternate between pentatonics during your soloing, right? I mean, a lesson like that is just something you can find. You can get that information. I'm not looking to be your teacher and to teach you fundamentals and stuff, except as a way of maybe this is the best way to think about it, or this is how you can get the fundamentals really fast, things like that. So I'm not here to do a lesson on playing over how to play One, the song where the guy comes back from the war and he's just an eyeball. That's from Aqua Teen. So I do love Aqua Teen. Oh, rig update. Yeah, man, the more I would gig with the 2 Sur cabs, which killed, by the way. I mean, the cabs still are amazing sounding, but the more I would gig with the solid state power amp, it's like man, something, especially when I was in mono, something was weird. I thought at least it didn't sound like a real amp, and yeah, I don't know. I finally got to a point where it's like, okay, this isn't what I'm looking for. And so that rig only lasted, I don't know, a couple of months. And now I'm on to 2 Tone Master Princetons and in stereo. And ooh, it's so glorious. So I do love it. So it's very nice. My first gig with this was kind of the opposite, the opposite experience of with the other one, where getting the solid state power amp with the modeler rig to the gig. It's like, okay, well now I can hear some of it sheds a sort of new light onto the ways in which it doesn't actually sound like a real amp. With the Princetons, playing them in the room, it's like, man, there is this harsh, at least ostensibly, or when I'm by myself in the room, I notice this kind of harsh treble that's, I like bright sounds, but it's harsh in a way that I think that I don't want, right? And that it makes your drive pedals a little extra gritty, and then, man, I got to the gig and played with them in stereo, and not only did it kill, it was freaking amazing in stereo. No mics, and yet it sounds, it's everything I want an amp on the stage to sound and feel like, yeah, oh my gosh, that extra treble, just where it is or something is so perfect. That was a 10-piece band. We had multiple horns. Anyway, and it was perfect, and everybody in the band was like, oh my gosh, your tone is killing. So yeah, anyway, I'll probably play something like that a lot. Okay, so I don't really want to teach stuff that's boring stuff, but I was thinking the other day, I was talking to somebody about something that's just about as specific as I can remember, And somehow it came up that I was like, look, you know how to play Curtis Mayfield, Jimi Hendrix style rhythm playing. It's really Jimi Hendrix style, right? I mean, Curtis Mayfield, what I've heard him do of it is very elementary compared to what Jimmy did. Jimmy took that ball way down the field. But maybe there were other players. There were probably other players at the time doing it too. So, you know, who knows? But man, yeah, Jimmy takes it way down the field. But you know, that style of R&B rhythm playing. Kind of more of a gospel thing there. You ever learn those? And then you do the minor 4 version. Anyway, this isn't about that. It's just about what I was telling him was that you get a ton of bang for your practice buck by just sitting down and spending the very, very short amount of time that it takes to really kind of get that vocabulary, that Jimi Hendrix style rhythm, R&B rhythm playing under your fingers. There's not that much to learn. It's actually pretty easy. And the bang comes from the fact that it always sounds good. Now, I don't do metal gigs, you know, but on everything else, you can bust into that stuff and nobody complains. It sounds very cool. It sounds very appropriate. You can do it on a country gig. You can do it on whatever. It very much works. So, and there's very little to learn. Here, I'll try to make it in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Ready? Here's the 7-minute mark. Go. Okay, so we got 2 basic shapes, right? We've got the major chord, and memorize these licks. Or and then and stuff like that. Right? Now, there's a million different rhythmic and contour permutations of those that you might do, but like you might do. Whereas earlier I went, right? I'm probably missing a cool thing or two, but if you memorize those, let's say 1 lick, 2 licks, that's the same thing. 3, 4, this thing, 5. Memorize those 5 basic maneuvers, right? Okay, and so what do you do to a minor chord? Ooh, I'm not gonna make it in 2 minutes. A minor chord, you think the minor pentatonic. So, by the way, something you think like 80s hard rock. That's not an actual song that I know of. But it's probably like 47 of them, right? Because if you think of these little dyads, like I've just playing 2 notes, where in a hard rock scenario, it's the top note of the 2, the top string of the 2 that's moving. In this R&B thing, you're hammering on the lower of the 2 pairs. So you got those 3 licks, this slide, right? Notice they're very much kind of it's the same thing, but you've got oh yeah, I kind of ruined a surprise there. There went the 2-minute mark. I'm not gonna make it, but and you know, kind of the corollary of the major one, the minor one. But now watch that on a 3 chord. Remember we talked about it in a previous video. You can't play a 9. That would be the root of your chord. You can't play a 2, a 9 on your 3 chord. It would take a flat 9. Now, can't take, right? The 9 isn't in the key. R&B is where you'll hear people play a 9 on a 3 all the time. I mean, not all the time, but it happens a lot. So like here, I'll give you. Let's. You hear how it right? It's wrong. I did a similar example back when we talked about the extensions that chords could have. That was musical axioms, I think is what that topic was. All right, so yeah, we got these licks for if you got a major chord, you've got this with these licks. The 5 basic maneuvers that I did. If you got a minor chord, you've got that same. Let's say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go with that. And I'm sure I could come up with something that's like, oh yeah, that's a famous thing to do. But right now, that's what we're dealing with. So we named 7 licks to do on a major chord, which we're gonna think like this. 5 licks for this, 7 licks for that. And notice they're all very generic things in that style, but that's fine. It's not like me to say something like that, I think, but in this case, you're probably not mainly going to be playing this style. So yes, if you're in the style of R&B, you want to push, you want to come up with some more crazy stuff. That's where what's it called? Neo soul comes in, right? It's like it's that would be really the next evolution of that style, right? Cheesy. It's corny. Not all of it, but some of it, man. There's a higher. That's very opinionated, but you can count on me to just say what I think. But man, neo soul is corny to me sometimes, a lot of times. So there are some people who play it at a super high level, but they also play everything else at a super high level, all right, so minor chord, major chord, right? Notice I'm not actually going out to the other cage shapes, but we'll talk about that. Because something interesting happens here. Here's my A major chord. All right, so here's my A. Here, we'll go to E. So, oh, look. From my high school days, Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam. It's the game. What's happening here, though? Because that's an E chord. What's happening here is this. All the licks that you learned for minor, remember they were just kind of in the minor pentatonic? Except for that. But it's all just the minor pentatonic. Based on the chord that you're on. Oh, remind me to... Oh, crap. That, man, hopefully I won't forget this. I need to talk about... You can follow each chord as they go by, So literally you're just moving kind of 50s style with each chord. Or you can usually get away with just kind of staying on the one chord. So both are a perfectly fine option. Okay, so let's say the chord is B, right? What's that here? I think I finally learned to use my looper at a decent level. What did I just do? All the minor stuff that we just learned is also the major pentatonic right here. The two shapes, so literally this shape, the major shape, and that all the pentatonic licks that we learned for the minor chord, they connect together like Voltron to create one big shape, right? This plus the pentatonic shape, right? So you can do it in the C shape, that's and that's also the minor chord. All right. So this is just a bass note. So I'm gonna make the chord B minor, right? This, so I've got the pentatonic right here. This connects onto it, right? might want to, you know, for if you want it to sound more resolved, you might, and instead of going to this, you might, but. Right, so anyway, all the stuff we learned from this is like the Karate Kid moment, like turns out I already knew karate. Everybody had a good laugh, right? That wasn't really how that scene went. It was similar, same idea. We spent all the time, you know, waxing the fence here with the pentatonic shapes, and then we painted the car, waxed the car. We painted the fence with the major shape, right? And then it turns out actually you can use them both in either place, right? They're reciprocal, you might say. So yeah, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave it. There, I left a couple of runners on base, but I want to do just a short one. So welcome back, me. Tons of bang for your buck here. I mean, this works on every other style. It's very useful. So all right, so say Yellow Ledbetter. I mean, it's a fine song. I don't know. Notice what he's doing here. Yes, you could equate that with an A shape or G shape, but it's really, it's those pentatonic licks, right? Because the chord is E, therefore we got this plus pentatonic, right? On straight line, and on a B chord is the next. Right? Here's my C shape. You can do it. Can you feel them? I think he says, can you feel them? By the way, okay, back to the axioms video. Remember we talked about you need to know the extensions that each of the 7 chords in the key can, at least the 1 through 6 chords in a key can take, right? And we said they all take normal extensions, regular 2s, regular 4s, regular 6s. Remember, 2 is 9. It's the same thing, same note. 2 is 9, 4 is 6. 4 is 11. 6 is 13, right? Crap. Oh man, my brain strikes again. So on the 4 chord, remember we said the 3 chord takes a flat 6 and a flat 9, or flat 6 and a flat 2. Sorry, flat 2 and a flat 6. The 4 chord takes a sharp 4. That's easy to remember. And the 6 chord takes a flat 6. We said those are the 3 you got to remember. Well, here I am, like 1 chord. 4, 5, 4. Notice how that tastes funny, right? Well, the thing is, that's because he's doing a 4, right? That's the 3rd of the chord, root 3, 5, and he's playing a 4 because it should be. Right, that would be in the key, but it doesn't sound stylistically idiomatic, does it? So, sounds like I'm missing something pretty sweet out there, so I'm gonna go do that. Probably will have to wrestle some fools. Yeah, this is probably gonna prompt some questions, you know, and like I said, if you want to go deeper in this style, which I barely have. I mean, some of the people I play with are freaks at this stuff, right? Mark Lettieri, Leo Sines is another dude in this town. Holy crap. Those 2 dudes at the next step up from here, like gospel and I mean, especially the gospel stuff. Man, so gospel is, you know how like when I was growing up, every time I would see a country electric player, it was just like, what the freak kind of magic tricks are they doing? That's not just guitar playing. They've got a level of trickery that I've never seen. Gospel players are that way. If you've never checked that out, there's a lot of cool licks to rip off. So if you want to go what's past this Jimi Hendrix style thing, what the next evolution has been, it's definitely gospel or neo soul, right? Neo soul is definitely more intricate. It's like I said, I think it can get pretty corny sounding sometimes, and gospel rarely does. The gospel stuff is really legit. So that's it. I'm going to wrestle. I got to defend my championship, so.